All right. Hey, happy 8 p.m. everyone. How's it going? I hope you're doing really well. Today's topic is when to stop saying yes to people. I guess in a way, hold on, I'm going to move over. The camera's a little bit off. So let's see. Today's topic is really about, I would say, it's a little bit about self-respect. Like, how do we find those boundaries? And I think sometimes we get into situations where we don't know when to stop saying no to people. So, like, let's say, let's say someone that's like, hey, you want to hang out sometime? And you feel bad, so you're like, yeah, sure, let's hang out. I feel like that's kind of a tricky situation because sometimes we get into these situations where we're like, I don't really want to hang out, but I don't want to reject you at the same time. I don't want to make you feel bad. So how do we find that right balance? And if I'm being completely honest, I think it's a work in progress for me. So I've tried a lot of different approaches in terms of how do I, like, quote unquote kindly decline people's requests to hang out or ask. And honestly, sometimes, if I'm being completely honest, sometimes I feel like I'm put into a very awkward situation where the person expects me to say yes. And I don't think that's a very healthy to be in. So, what's a good example? Like, sometimes people are like, hey, can you do this favor for me? And let's say you just don't want to do it. I believe we all have the right to not do that favor, you know, if it doesn't feel comfortable or if it doesn't feel right to us. So let's let's go with answering this question real quick, which is yes to people. Honestly, I think the straight answer that we should all strive for is yes when it doesn't feel right. If it doesn't feel in alignment, if it feels like it makes us feel uncomfortable in the wrong kind of way. If you feel uncomfortable in that, like, no, I don't think I really want to, you know. Um, but if we end up doing something out of guilt or obligation, I think that's kind of like, how do I say this? That's like the unhealthy side of stuff. So I was listening to a podcast with Tim Ferriss yesterday, and I forgot the name of the lady who was on, but she's a writer, and she was essentially saying like how she went to therapy to, like, for codependency, and she was talking about the more important thing is like how over the course of a year she just learned to stop saying yes to stop saying yes to people, and in a way to just stand up and be like, you know what, no, that's okay, like, I'm not going to do it. So um let's go. When do we stop saying yes to people? I think the straight answer is we stop saying yes to people when it doesn't feel right to us. Things because we don't want to hurt people's feelings, and we're afraid of hurting people. I think that's why we say yes more often than not. It's really, really important to not constantly just keep saying yes. I think I've heard some experiments from people, like people did self experiments where I think some people, like, for whatever extended period of time, they say yes to everything. Even if they don't want to, even if they don't want to do it, they just say yes to everything. And then that's going to give you some, insight on what it feels like to say yes to everything. And then the next step is no to everything. And then that way they understand, what does that feel like. So Autumn Thoughts, good to see you on, brother. Good to see you on. What I want to say right now is I'm currently in this period of my life where I'm very balanced with saying yes to things. Like, I definitely do not say yes to everything, and I definitely don't. I more often say no to things than I say yes to. How do I say this? It's a balance. I even have expectations of myself. Like, for example, for anyone who's part of the Own Your Life Challenge, which is a 30-day challenge, um, it's there's challenges every single day, and then there's a certain goal that everyone in the challenge is trying to get to. It's a personal goal, so that could be losing weight, that could be quitting smoking, that could be going on a date with a girl. That could be a lot of different things. So that's how do I say this? When I first started the Own Your Life Challenge, I had this idea, this mindset of like, you know what, I really want to be here to support people. But the thing is, there are 38 people signed up for this challenge right now, maybe even more. And what I realized is super unhealthy for me to say yes to everything. Extremely draining for me to respond to everyone's messages and be there 100% for everyone. I'm not there for everyone. More cautious of how the structure is. So for anyone who is in the Own Your Life Challenge, you know very well that like the thing that I always do is I refer people to ask questions in their small groups. And so each small group has about 8 people. So there are 4 small groups. What is that? That ends up being about 30. Some groups have a little bit more than 8. But the point is, having the small groups, what that does for me is it frees up my time, and I don't have to individually answer all the questions as much as I do want to. It's just I can't take care of my own life and also answer everyone's questions at the same time. Like it's enough because like it's a lot of work. So this is one of those moments where I had to kind of, how do I say this, re-engineer the process. So this is an indirect way of saying no to something, or stopping saying yes. So my normal self, like if you watch, how do I say this? If you were following me back in the day when I was making YouTube videos, I used to respond to every single comment, and I did this for the first 2 years of making YouTube videos. And it was, and I enjoyed writing really long responses. Anytime someone emailed me, I'd always respond, 100% response rate. At a certain point where the videos just got like more and more comments and stuff, like hundreds and hundreds of comments, and I'm just like, realistic for me to respond back to every single comment. So now it's a little bit of a balance. It's figure out a way to support people, but also not burn myself out. And in a way, how I'm stopping to say yes is I'm kind of recalibrating the expectations of what I can provide to other people. And again, how do I say this? There's 2 thoughts I have right now. Number one is like, I feel like I'm a kind of person who wants to support everyone. It is not serving me to try to help everyone one-on-one at the same time. So this is a big reason why I do these live streams every single day, is because this is an opportunity for me to ask questions and answer to a lot of people at the same time. And the cool thing that I like about the way I structure things is it's my life, or the way I handle things. There is structure, but there's also a lot of improvising. Like the amount of, I set the expectations in a way where I get a certain amount of responses that I could respond back to. So for the most part, if people message me or email me, I will pretty much respond to every single email or message that I get, because it's that perfect amount where it's like, when I have the time to respond, I will respond. And it just works out. But yeah, so it's right now it's a nice little balance. So I'm appreciating that. Yes, take a break. You're only one person. Thank you for that. Onathox says, what are some everyday situations where you are put to say yes or no? So let's see. A situation can be, hey, do you want to hang out? Like I feel like that's the most common situation that people get into. Hey, do you want to hang out? And let's say you don't really want to hang out, So, but then you feel peer pressure, like your friends are like, oh, come on, man, come on, let's hang out. Like, you could do your work later, whatever it is. Like there's always like this temptation to hang out, and if deep down inside to not hang out, then just give a clear, hey, look, it's to do my work, whatever it is. So that's one situation. What's another situation? Let's say another situation is, let's say you drive a car and a friend's like, hey, can you come pick me up? you're busy, you got things to do, not to be or whatever it is, but you have things to do. It's like, of course, you gotta. It's a lot of just weighing, like, oh, does this person have another ride, things like that, and you also get to respect your own space. Like it's all, it's trust your heart. It's assessing the situation. Like sometimes picking up someone from the airport or something like that, from a meeting or whatever, can be a time investment. And let's say it's inconvenient for you, but if this person like absolutely does not have a ride, and it's far enough where an Uber is way too expensive, then sure, go pick them up. However, let's say this person is only 10 minutes away from you, or like, but it takes you 30 minutes to get there, then just go like, hey, you should just call an Uber, because it might cost you some money, but it'll say, it's whatever. I value my time. Like, I'm not going to drive 30 minutes to go pick you up unless, like you're doing it and like not just care about them, but like you genuinely want to give in that way, then that's perfectly okay. So my point is, I think it's really important for us to have boundaries of like when we say no. Let's see. Another quick example is sometimes people hop on these streams. Once in a while, we'll get some troll comments or like really random comments. And when I stop saying yes to people on these comments is, look, if someone puts like a very immature comment, like a question that's, clearly not a real question, I'm not going to answer it. I'm not going to waste my energy doing it. I think sometimes people seek attention, and like I don't hate on it. I are, but I'm just not going to engage in conversation that doesn't matter to me, and conversation that's going to be whatever the main purpose of whatever the heck we're doing. Kayla says, I have to say no to go out drinking tonight. I want to go, but I know I need to wake up early to start the week off right. That's awesome. Great example. NJ Grant says, hey, dude. Hey, hello to you, NJ Grant. Good to see you on. It's been a while. Good to see you back on. Let's see. Let's have, if anyone has other scenarios like Adiela mentioned, like I would love to hear them. What are some ways, or what are some scenarios? I'm curious to know, what are some maybe some recent or just scenarios in general that you had a hard time saying no to? Like someone's whatever, like someone requested something of you and you're like, oh man, like this is so hard. So tell us about a time where you had to say no, or you want to say no but you didn't, or you want to say no and you actually did say no, or vice versa. You said yes but you regretted it. Like I'd love to hear all these things, because it's stories is such a powerful tool to learn and grow, all that. Like it puts things into perspective. So let's see. NG Grant says conversations should be important. What do you mean by that? Conversation should be important. What kind of conversation should be important? Let's see. Ontek says, thanks for your answer. I had to say no to my parents to go to breakfast because I want to finish a video before. I feel kind of bad. Let's see. Today. So let's see. Finish a video. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's all a balance. I feel like we got to figure out like what are our priorities, and we can't let our how do you say it? We can't let other people detract us from our priorities, and other people are part of our priorities. So it's all kind of measuring and feeling things out, making that self-assessment. What is my priority? Let's say you're working on your video. I'm just saying, let's say your parents live halfway and they only come visit once in a while, and they're like, hey, do you want to go to breakfast? And then you're like, oh man, I should really finish this video, but I only see you, once. Yeah, sure, let's go get breakfast. But if you see your parents every single day and you got a project due, a video, whatever it is, go work on the video. That's like, it's just figuring out what are your priorities. Alrighty, let's see. Tyrone, we got a comment from Tyrone. So Tyrone says, hold on. Just want to make sure I didn't miss any other comments. Okay, Tyrone says, this occurred today. My friends wanted to go eat at my favorite steakhouse. I had a paper due for school. I said was a little displaced because they said I'm the fun friend. Guilt, but I had to hold on. A little bit cut off here. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. It just says dot dot dot. So had to say no. Is that what you said? Yep. Tyrone says, but I had to say no. That's a perfect example. I love that. So yeah, that's great. And one thing I want to mention, Tyrone, is that you felt such guilt for saying no. But man, this is one of those really interesting things, and this is part of the reason why I'm having this conversation, why we are having this conversation right now, because we should never. I don't feel like we should ever feel bad for our own decisions. So if your decision is no, you shouldn't feel bad. If you feel bad, that means that your friends are not respecting your decision. Now, I feel like most people, we're in this culture of peer pressure. We're in this culture of like, come on, man, let's just do it. Like, you could do that later. And we're selfish. Like a lot of us, especially when we're younger, is like a lot of us just want what we want. We care about our friends. We're selfish. So in this case, Tyrone and anyone else, if you have a hard time saying no to people, just know that it's okay. If you feel bad for saying no, don't feel bad. Make your decision. Know that that's your decision. And by the way, Tyrone, I'm happy for you. Like, I'm really happy that you made the right decision. More responsible. So, yeah, it's like, there's a phrase FOMO, the fear of missing out. And it's like, I feel like that phrase is like the epitome of our culture today right now, which is like this idea of, oh man, I wish I was there. I feel so bad. No, it's like you made a decision and don't feel bad. It is what it is. So I think that's just part of it. It's like at the end of the day, you get to do what you want to do. So what's a good example? Stop saying yes to people. So this is kind of here's an example. It's not exactly saying no to people, but it's saying no to myself. Okay, so or saying yes. It's not saying yes to people, but it's saying yes to or saying yes. It is saying no to myself. Here's the situation. So I was working, and I'm working on rebranding my motivational speaking brand, website, all that kind of stuff. And my friend, who is a graphic designer slash, she does branding. Her name's Deanna, and she was just like, "All right, Richard, I got some homework for you. Get this done." No timeline. Probably like by the time in the next 2 days, get it done. What I realized is I don't have a lot of time to get all of this done. So I'm like, you know what? Okay, let's just do it. So right after the live stream, I went straight to work, and I was like on fire. I was like, dude, let's do this. I spent 1 hour on it. I'm like, okay, I did part 1 of 2. So I finished part 1, and part 2, I'm like, oh man, like I should really do this. Like, oh, hold on. I'm still awake. I got a lot of energy. Like I could crank this out. I could crush it. And it was already 10:30 p.m. I know my bedtime is 11 p.m. And the thought in my head was, hour, I could just crank this out and get it done. I'm still awake. Why not? And then I had to say no to myself, even though I knew I had a lot of work to do. I knew I had to say no to myself, because if I stayed up an extra hour to do work, which means I would be going to sleep an extra hour, that would throw my next day off completely. By that, I mean, I wouldn't wake up at 5:30 in the morning. I wouldn't exercise until later, and it'd push everything back. So this is an example where I actually had to say no to myself. I said, no, Richard, staying up later to do something productive, which is finish your work. Wake up, do your morning rituals, exercise early in the morning, get that all done with, and then you could do your work. So along the lines of self-discipline, same thing with saying yes or no to people. When we say no to people, it's the same thing. It's self-discipline. It's making a decision that is best for our life versus what other people tell us, and like a more of an emotional decision. Hanging out with people, again, I'm just gonna go back to this example because it's so common. It's like I get requests to hang out all the time, like, hey, let's hang out. And you know, forgive me anyone if I've declined hanging out with people, but it's just like my schedule it's intentional. It's I don't want to call it's busy. It is busy. I'm constantly doing work all day, but it's not like stressful busy work. It's just I'm very intentional about the way I spend my energy. It's not time, it's more energy. So for example, Kevin Vo, I don't know, I don't think Kevin Vo is on right now, but Kevin Vo is like, hey, you want to hang out? Out. And for me, I'm just like, I would love to hang out with you, Kevin Vo. But it's just like this week it's busy. Like this week is just I have priorities. I got to focus on my branding. It's just like hanging out with someone. Not only do you hang out with them for an hour, but you got to commute there and back, and it's just like it's just the energy it takes. Like I love hanging out with people. It's just the energy that it takes away from me. So I'm very intentional with I'm just like, hey, sorry, I'm not going to do that right now. I got to focus on this. So again, when do we stop saying yes to people? We stop saying yes to people when it doesn't. We get to stick to whatever our goals. And let's say you're a student. I think the most common thing that students get to do is assignments, homeworks, studying. And if you know that you get to study because you got an exam coming up or whatever it is, you're study. And then after you're done with that, after you're caught up, whatever, then you can go hang out. However, you already know this one, but I'll just say it. And that is balance at the same time. And this goes with trusting your gut. So let's say Kevin Vo is like, hey, Richard, do you want to hang out? And I'm like, dude, I'm super busy, But let's say I know I've been working I've been overworking myself. And I'm like, dude, I need a break. Then I'll be like, all right, Kevin, like I'm super busy, but I've been overworking myself. I haven't been socializing, whatever. Yes, let's go hang out. Trusting your gut and knowing what you need. I think that takes a little bit of practice to kind of be aligned with who you are and making those decisions. But practice, and you'll get there. Okay, cool. I see your comments. I see them coming in. My point across. Let's dive into comments real quick. All right. Yeah, NJ Grant says, I'm pretty much saying conversations should be worth a time. Okay. Let's see here. Onathox says, about current topics. Got it. Okay. Onathox says, if you say, this is a great question. Onathox says, if you say no, I are straight up honest. So in general, I feel like honesty is the best policy. Like it's, man, that was like a cheesy phrase. Honesty is the best policy. And so this, I don't know how, like, this is really like how you want to live your life. If someone asks a question like, hey, you want to hang out? And how do I say this? I've tried, how do I say this? I have practiced brutal honesty. I've practiced this is too big of a word. Unrelentless. Like if I don't want to hang out with someone, I'll just let them know in an honest way. Like, hey, look, I've said this to people before, and honestly, it was mean. It's just I was trying to be honest because I care enough about someone to be honest. So I've had friends that said, hey, Richard, you want to hang out? And I just said, hey, look, I don't feel like this is going to be a very valuable conversation right now, with my time and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to have to decline, whatever, respectfully decline your offer to hang out. And I don't know, like sometimes someone asks that, you got to say yes. So, and honestly, it's weird. It's like, if I'm being, again, I use the word honest, I use conversation here. Like it's uncomfortable. It's back at chat logs, you know, like someone's like, "Hey, Richard, how's it going?" And I'm just like, "Oh my goodness!" The last thing I said was, "Nah, I'm good. I'm not. Let's not hang out." Like, you know how awkward that makes me feel? It does make me feel awkward. So how do you balance that? Like, do we tell a white lie? Yes or no? How do I say this? Again, this is a challenging. I feel like the right answer is to just be truthful, because if you tell a lie, that lie will just linger there. But here is kind of like a little bit of an exception here. Let's say your friend is not offended very easily. If they get offended really easily, here's my opinion. This is there's something a little bit off here. I feel completely comfortable with this answer, but I believe it is the best strategy for now. And I believe, like, let's say someone, it just gets like, they're very sensitive, right? Like, so if you say, "Nah, I don't want to hang out with you," and then they get hurt about it, thought around this is, if you know they're going to get offended or whatever it is, and it's not worth that trouble, I believe, how do I say this? Tell them, in my opinion, like, do your best not to lie, not to white lie. Just make it very simple, like, no, no, you know, or I'll think about it. Or, man, this is being so indirect. Either I'll think about it, or like, you know what, I have other things to do, or like, I don't know, like, try to make it kind and soft. Like, don't be like straight up harsh. I think it is important to balance people's emotions and where they're at. And I hate to be like, you know, but sometimes I feel like people aren't ready for those real tough conversations. And we get to meet them where they're at. And the goal is, are you trying to help them grow? If you're trying to help them grow and be real, then be brutally honest. If that's not your goal, if you know, it's someone that you're not, let's say, that close with, and you don't want to invest that much time in that relationship, then kindly decline to the best of your ability, and that's all. So that's a that's a ooh that's a tough one right there. Okay. NJ Grant says, in the New Year's in Toronto, I met this girl. She was beautiful, thick. We had a good conversation. And when I asked if she wants to hang out, she wants money. And I said no. I just walked away. Oh, all right. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Autotalk says, let's say the job manager asks you to fill in another shift and you want to say no. Let's see. Okay. So Autotalks. Autotalks. So let's say your job manager wants you to fill another shift and you want to say no. So let's see. If I was in this situation, I would say, I'll check if we can meet up some other time. Oh, sorry, that's a different situation. Okay. I'm gonna get back to that second comment in just a second. Let's talk about the shift. Your job manager. Your manager job says, "Can you fill up another shift?" And you want to say no. This depends. It's like, man, this is like tricky politics in a way. It's like, it depends on your relationship with not your boss, but with your job. It's like, what's your goal here? Like, are you trying to get promoted? Are you trying to not get fired? Like, what is it? And let's say you're not necessarily trying to get promoted, but you're not trying to get fired for saying no to a shift, because just say no. Just say like, "Hey, can you do another shift?" And say, "No, I have other things I'm doing actually." So sorry about that. Whatever. Like, I think that's perfectly okay to say no. And this also depends on your relationship with your job. Like, does your job matter to you? Like, does your company value you? Do you have a relationship with your company in the way that, like, your company is taking care of you? You know, like, you could tell that they care, and it's a relationship. It's like, if your company is being kind to you, you know, then yeah, like, sure, I'm willing to take a little bit of a sacrifice to support the company because y'all are really nice people, and I appreciate you all. So yeah, I will sacrifice that and work another shift because I know we need it. It is not that valuable to you. You're just there for the money, not really supporting you, but your boss is like, hey, can you do another shift? And the only reason why you feel pressured is because it's your job. They're just for money. Then if you respect your own time and you don't want to do another shift, then just kindly decline and say, no, sorry, I'm actually busy. I have other priorities during that time or whatever it is. And that's it. Okay. Alrighty. On to next. Let's go back to that our previous conversation. And he says, in that situation, I'll say I'll check if we can meet up some other time. So if you want to meet up another time, or you could hope that you kind of don't bring up the conversation again. So goodness, this is station. I don't have all the answers. So we're just doing our best here. All right, Ananthox says, going back to the manager question, the job manager question. At first, I said sorry and I tried to explain. Then I said, I just said no. I can't with no explanation. It wasn't a serious job. I only work 2 days a week because I go to school. So, goodness. Okay. This is one of those tricky things. Hold on. I want to highlight something. This is a little bit off topic, but what I want to highlight here is, what is it? Sorry. Our culture, we're so used to saying sorry. For me, I'm doing my best to not say sorry. Sorry is, we had this conversation like a few weeks ago on this live stream, but like sorry is a very, like, there's no need for you to feel sorry. It's, I wish I was better at explaining this. It's like you're saying sorry for something that's not your fault. So, but it's not your fault. You're just making a choice. So, I don't know. You can say, unfortunately, I'm not able to do that. Unfortunately, I'm not able to do that for the shift or whatever it is. Sorry does soften. Never mind. I don't want to dive too deep into that. That's a whole nother conversation. Don't feel bad. Make a decision. Don't feel bad about it because it is your decision. I think I mentioned this point because I remember when I was younger, and even today, I get into these situations where I feel bad. I feel bad if I say no to people. And I don't think we should ever feel bad for the decisions that we make. I think if we make a decision, be confident with it and know that for us, this is what we want. And this takes a little bit more digging. It's like, again, families are a great example of people who pressure us to do things. I know my parents, like, especially my dad, like I got parents who pressure me to do things, and I love them, but it's like, this is one of those things where it took me a long time to understand in my life and learn about this, but it's like, we get to learn when to stop saying yes. We get to learn when to stop people pleasing, kind of like people pleasing / sucking up to other people you want to do, even if other people feel hurt, offended, things like that. And it's tough. It's like, let's talk about our parents for a second. That is really tough because our parents took care of us. So, part of us can feel like we're indebted to them, like we owe them something. And it's like this weird balance. It's like, how do you deal with your parents' expectations, but also live your own life? So, for me, I don't know how to say this. It's like we got a ton of cultures. We got Asian cultures. We got Hispanic, Middle Eastern cultures. I'm sure a lot of European cultures. Families, a lot of parents that have expectations of their children to do things for them or take care of them. Like, that's just so. How do we move forward from this? Honestly, it's like, I feel like it's just one of those tough cultural transitions right now. It's like, I believe we get to live our own free life and make our own decisions, respect our parents, and respectfully say, hey, mom or dad, sorry, just I know you want me to do this, but that's not exactly what I want to do. No disrespect to you, mom and dad. Like, I love you. this is my life and this is how I want to do it. Again, no disrespect to you. Like you, all that stuff. Anyway, so I hope that's supportive a little bit. Alrighty, let's see. Peter, good morning, brother. Good morning. Alrighty, let's dive into some more conversations. Let's see here. Some people don't want to hurt others or be mean. Trust yourself. Let's see. Anadek says, I just quit that job, by the way. It's people. I'm really sorry for you. I'm really sorry for you. I have things to do. What? My apologies. I don't know. I try to refrain from saying my apologies or I'm sorry. Like most people say I'm sorry and my apologies when it's not even their fault. And for me, I would be I think the reason to be careful to not say I'm sorry and my apologies is because you start putting the fault and blame on yourself, start making you feel bad, like it is your fault. So the main thing is just know that it's not your fault. So two things. There is how do I say this? In my leadership training. So anyone who's part of Compass or WorldWorks, I see Rob Cruz on right now, and Lindsay O'Neill, part of WorldWorks. Wait, was it? I'm trying to figure out. Sorry. This is Compass Trainings. Not WorldWorks. Compass Trainings was the second transformational training. So the founder of the organization, doesn't matter. This guy named Luis taught us a trick, which is instead of saying sorry or my apologies, a rephrase is please forgive me. So when I first heard him say this, I'm like, what? Please forgive me. Like that sounds so desperate. No, it's please forgive me. This is if we are at fault for something, not just in general. So like, let's say, hey, do you want to hang out? You don't need to say, please forgive me, I can't do that, because you're not at fault. Just say no. You don't need to say sorry or my apologies, I can't do that. Just say no. That's it. Don't weaken your decision. Your decision is your decision. Don't let other people take away your power from your own decision. Saying I'm sorry, I can't do that means you're giving away your power. So anyway, if you do something wrong or whatever, let's say you break a promise, instead of saying I'm sorry, I think something that's more empowering that I learned from Luis is you say, please forgive me, whatever, for breaking my commitment. Or another way that I learned is I acknowledge that I broke my commitment. I acknowledge that I broke my commitment, and I commit or recommit to whatever, being on time starting now. So it's like it's taking responsibility. It's admitting, it's acknowledging that you did something wrong, and then you're committing, you're taking responsibility to change it to be better. I think that's the best gift that we can give to people. All right. Let's see. Where are we at here? All right. Tanya says, I agree with you, Richard. I feel like sorry is overused and it undermines actual feeling sorry. NJ Grant says, I always ask questions before saying no. If it's a good or bad, I just want to know. If it is good or bad, I just want to know. Not clear if that was a question to me or that was just a statement. Tanya says, I had a friend who would constantly say sorry, and half the time she didn't need to say sorry. I feel like part of it was to gain others' empathy or sympathy. But Lily really said sorry. But like when she really said sorry, it didn't mean much. Got it. The more you say sorry, the less meaningful it is. It's a softener. It's the point is we want to be soft. We don't want to hurt people's feelings. But I think our subconscious or self level, it hurts us. Like it gives our power away. So Onathok says, saying sorry a lot is putting some blame on yourself for no reason, and people see you as weak. Thoughts? My thought on this is, let's see. I think it does put blame on ourselves when we say sorry. Again, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think this is about people seeing you as weak. It matters how people see us. If they see us as weak, cool, whatever. It's really how we see ourselves. I think that's what's really important. Tanya says, I think truly apologizing is actually a sign of strength. I like that. I like that. Truly apologizing, like being genuinely apologetic or whatever, is a sign of strength. I think so too. I think truly apologizing, not just saying sorry, but like that true deep down, like, forgive me, like I'm at fault for this. Humility. I believe that's a sign of vulnerability, honesty. That is a sign of strength to me too. Onathoc says, but saying sorry all the time just for saying no, it's a sign of weakness and insecurity. I would agree with that. I think if you're trying to use sorry as a softener, when you don't really mean it, like you're lowering your self integrity, your own power of your words. Yeah. NJ Grant says, oh, that's a side conversation. Nope, side conversations. Onathoc says, yep. Okay, you guys are having cool. Brian Chen says, job manager question. At first I said sorry and tried to explain. Then I just said, no, I can't with no. Wait, what? Oh, that's a repeat. NJ says, question, Richard. What if you keep saying sorry? Does it show a negative impact in ourselves, or how we view ourselves? Let's see. Okay, let's answer this question. So, okay, what if we keep saying sorry? Does it show a negative impact in ourselves? To other people or ourselves? We'll answer both here, or at least I'll give you my opinion for both. So, if we keep saying sorry, does it show a negative impact in ourselves? Let's see. I think outwardly, I don't think it really matters. That's okay. NJ says, sorry about my grammar. That's okay. No problem. Does it show negatively? So I'm going to answer this as quickly as possible, which is, I don't think it really matters if it shows negatively outwardly. Like, do other people, if we say sorry, do other people perceive it negatively about us? It's mix. It's going to be a mix. It's going to be a mix. Some people might be like, okay, you're saying sorry too much. Other people will, maybe like it, appreciate it. So it's going to be a mix. I think what's really important in this question is, does it show a negative impact to ourselves? Which I think is probably what you mean. So I believe if we keep saying sorry, it does negatively impact ourselves. It makes us feel insecure. It makes us feel like we are less than people. It makes us feel like we need to apologize, and almost, this is a little bit of an exaggeration, but we need to be at the like kneel down or like at the feet of other people, and not in a humble way, more at like a I feel sorry for myself. Like I feel, what's that word? It's not pathetic. Word. It's kind of like being a victim for ourselves. Like that's what it is. By saying sorry to other people, like, oh, I'm so sorry, people, when we don't need to say sorry. I think internally it makes us feel sorry about ourselves. It makes us feel like we're not good enough or whatever it is. There's a balance, like let's say you run into someone in the United States. If if you're walking on the street and you run into someone by accident, a lot of people say, hey, oh, sorry, so sorry. It'll slip from me too. Sometimes I'll say sorry, or if I run to someone, I'll probably say, excuse me, sorry. I will say sorry. It's a softener. This brings up, I'm going to counter exactly what I just said. In this moment, I say sorry. I think it is how do I say this? Sorry. Wow, this is fascinating. I do say sorry. If I run into someone or whatever it is, like let's say I'm holding a door for someone and then I accidentally let go too soon or whatever it is, and then they got like rush in the door, I'm like, oh, sorry. Goodness, I'm not practicing what I'm preaching right now. So this is interesting. I guess if I were to guess, the main thing I would say is be mindful when we say sorry. That's what I got. That's the best I got in this moment right now. All right. Let's see. Is it like projection? Is it like projection? Not sure. Not sure about that one, Tanya. NJ, wait, who said that? Oh, Onathox says, have I enabled super chat? No, I don't think I've enabled super chat. I don't. It's really necessary. With us, I haven't even looked into that. Yeah, I feel like that's like some sort of paid thing. If you pay for super chat, you can do stuff. I don't know. We have a small community, so I don't think super chat is really necessary here. But if there's cool features in it, maybe I'll look into it. Alrighty. Let's see. Oh, is it like projection saying sorry a lot because that's how you feel internally. Yeah, hey, that's an interesting thought. I like that. I have my own opinion on this one. What do you all think about this one? Which is Tanya said, is saying sorry a lot like it's like an internal projection internally. So when we say sorry, are we projecting what we feel internally? And I kind of want to say yes. My opinion is I believe sorry, it is a internal reflection of how we feel about ourselves. So honestly, if I were to guess, I believe I still say sorry however much I do, which is I try to minimize it, but it comes out. I believe I say sorry because I feel like I'm doing something wrong. I feel like I feel like I'm doing something wrong. I feel like and I believe that is because of how I was raised. Not how I was raised, but in my environment. You know, I'm not blaming my parents. It's just however I chose to live as a young kid. I felt when I was younger, I became this like kind of insecure person. You know, this person who always felt like he wasn't doing anything right. I always felt like I was doing everything wrong. So growing up, you know, it was very natural for me to say sorry, and I think that I got to continue working through. All right. Onathox says, I think if you bump into someone unintentionally, then saying sorry is okay, in my opinion. You know, I kind of feel that. To be honest, I kind of feel that way too. I know I'm saying a lot of like mixed things, and it can be kind of confusing, but I agree. If we bump into someone, I feel like because we don't know them very well, and it's sorry is communicated in a like understanding way of just it's like friendly. That's what I got. Onathox says, I agree because I used to be externally shy during high school and would. NG Grants says, Richard, we need to talk about people who talk over others and how annoying that is. Next stream, I can't wait. Oh, good. That's pretty funny. Let's see. Huh. I'm like, what if we talk about? I feel like this is a today topic. So talking over people, is that worthy of a whole entire stream? Talking over people. Let's see. Talking over people. Next stream. Are we doing that next stream? Next stream or this stream? Let's see. Next stream. I'm gonna NJ Grant. I'm gonna copy and paste that into my stream notes. That way, I remember to come back to it. Where are we at? Typing in my notes right now. Okay, cool. We'll talk. Remind me if I forget about that. Okay. That'll be an interesting little conversation. Yeah. Let's see. NJ says, I'll tell you on Skype. Oh, goodness. I'll never sign on Skype. I should get the messages though. Okay, cool. So with that being said, what's going on right now? I want to leave with, this is sort of a wrap up of the conversation here. The conversation of the people. So this is, I want to veer off this exact topic just a little bit, and I almost want to talk about like being in alignment with ourselves. I know we talked a little bit about like, what's our vision for our life slash the world yesterday. Just wrapping up in the next, let's say, less than 5 minutes as we wrap up this conversation, this stream. I want to leave you with, I guess, a little bit of a thought and like how do we say this? A visionary thought, something that's like, and then the last thing I want to do right before ending the stream is really like, let's dive deep. Let's end the stream with like a really heart-centered thought that is going to help us move forward. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Ananthox, I see your comments. Thank you for that. Okay, so here we go. The thought I have today, the thought of the day for me is keep remembering. Don't lose sight of the bigger picture. I think sometimes we get so caught up in the day-to-day, every single day, caught up in the whatever it is, like the challenges that we're in, or let's say we're working on a certain task and like it's not going right for us. Like what's a good example here? Sure, let's do this. So I want to use a student example because we got a lot of students here. So let's say you have this man, this is not a great example. I'll do it anyway. So let's say you got a test, you got a big test that's worth like 50% of your whole entire grade. And then you have this homework assignment that's like, you want to do a good job because whatever, you just want to, what's a good, no, that's not a good example. Hold on. So let's say you get a test worth 50% of your grade, just hypothetically. And then you have this project that's like this hobby project that you're working on. And it's like you really want to do a good job on it. Like you really want to finish it up or whatever it is. And hold on. Here, sorry, I'm not good with hypotheticals. So I'm going to use a real life example for myself and then allow you to apply it into your life. So the reason why this conversation came up for me today is I was doing work today and I realized for the past 4 or 5 days, I've been really studying branding, logo design, how do I build up this brand, Richard Kuo, as the motivational speaker. And I was like focusing so much energy into this, which rightfully so, like I got to print promotional material. I'm creating this huge $100 banner. Like I'm putting a lot of money resources into this branding stuff. And because there's a convention coming up in 2 months that I'll be at, and I don't want to go there and not have a banner, and I don't want to go there and have a crappy looking banner. Like I want something that looks good. But here's the thing, like I noticed that I started stressing out a lot because I'm like, the deadline is coming up for me to finish all my design work because I need to get it printed. And what I realize is, sure, branding is huge. Branding can be very, very important. Having this perfect brand of like, quote unquote, perfect brand of like something that people understand, they can relate with it. It's eye catching, like all that stuff. Great. Don't focus on one thing and forget about your main priority. I realized today I had to stop myself and be like, okay, what is this really about? Having this perfect whatever, trying to look good or whatever it is, which it's not completely about trying to look good. Really, it's about finding a good brand, logo, stuff like that resemble me well, that to me, so I could communicate. But here's the thing. The most important piece of this whole entire, speaking business that I'm doing is not the branding. It's the impact that I get to make. Important, but at the end of the day, Richard, I'm like trying to do everything. Most is that you're going to make the presentation. So this was it was a little bit of a wake up call for me. Like, all right, Richard, like great, you're spending a lot of time on this, but don't forget about your message. Keep working on strengthening, improving your message. And I have a lot of work to do in that field, and that's the most important piece of it. You know, let's say, sorry, this is a little bit too businessy. I hope that it's relatable and you can transfer whatever the heck I'm saying with my story into your own life. And I wish it was more school related, but I, real life examples help me a lot more. So let's just say my branding was absolutely incredible. It was the best branding in the whole entire world, but my speech sucked. What is the point of having a good brand if my speech sucks? I would rather have a super awesome, the best speech in the whole entire world, and the worst branding in the whole entire world, instead of the best branding in the whole entire world and the worst speech. It's like, focus on your priorities. So that's what I have. Wherever you are, like, don't lose sight of whatever is the main purpose of what you're doing. Like, don't waste. I'm not trying to say, like, don't waste time doing meaningless things or like the low value stuff. Just be mindful of how you're spending your time, and remember to focus on what's really important versus the small little details that we think, that are fun and, but they're not the most valuable ones. Focus your time on what's valuable. Okay. All right. So that's what I have. And I will finish reading out these comments, and then I'll finish with my final thought of the whole entire thing, and then we're going to end it, and then I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. So Autumn says, do I know the YouTuber Infinite Waters? Yes, I do. He's actually one of the first YouTubers in the space that I followed. Yeah. So Ralph Smart, Infinite Waters, diving deep once again. Yeah, of course I know him. That guy's crazy. He's been making YouTube videos pretty much like every single day for the past, I don't know, at least 5 years. It's crazy. He has like over 1,000 videos on his channel. Mariah says, the topic really helped me to see how setting up boundaries around my time, energy, and health will help me align myself with my priorities. Mariah, thank you so much. I appreciate that a lot. And I'm glad that that's supportive. Okay, cool. Autumn, sorry if I missed one of your questions. I'm a little confused with the last things you're saying. I think that's just a statement, but if that's a question, you can ask me later. Okay. All right. I'm gonna wrap up this conversation with one final thought. I don't know what it is yet, but I tend to improvise things off the top of my head. That's how I roll. So the last thing that I have right now is, am I gonna? Okay, let's go with this one. All right. My question that I want to leave you all with today is whether or not your life is miserable or incredible right now. It doesn't matter. If you're going through a tough time, it doesn't matter. Okay? I want everyone to answer this question. It doesn't matter. The question for tonight is, think about right now as we end the stream, is, why is your life absolutely amazing? Okay? If your life is crappy right now, answer the question anyway. And don't say, oh, my life is not amazing, it's crappy. Just answer the question. Okay? Even if it seems counterintuitive, just answer the question. Why is your life so amazing right now? Okay? That's all I'm going to leave it at. Everyone, have a good night. See you on tomorrow, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And yep. Oh, yeah. And for any of the Own Your Life Challenge people, we have our live video chats on Zoom an hour before that. So 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay. Yep. See you on tomorrow. Hey, everyone. Thank you for hopping on. Good night, Brian. And good night, Mariah on Fox. Sorry, I'm missing some people. NJ Grant. Else who's on right now. Okay. Thanks so much for hopping on. And again, reminder for the last question: why is your life so amazing right now? Question. You can write it down. No, that's too much work. Just or say it out loud. Whatever you want to do. I'm going to think about it as soon as I hit end on this video. I'm going to think about it too. Why is my life amazing? So amazing right now. Okay. Good night.